VA score fluctuations. Oh, it is really frustrating. I've taken all these mocks. At least my scores in QA is steady. It is still low, but it is still steady. I can make sense as to what's going on, and I can therefore make some corrective actions. But in VRC, I just don't know what's happening. I mean, when I take this section test, my scores are fine. But when I take the mock test, something else happens. When I take single RC, there is no problems. I get 3 questions correct. I get sometimes 4 questions correct. But in the mocks, I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm putting a lot of effort, but I can't see anything that is happening in the mocks. I'm absolutely worried. I don't know what is going on. If you are like that, then I believe that this particular video will be very useful to you. I want to talk about 3 things. Starting with, what scores are we targeting? I mean, we need to understand what is that targeting. There is a percentile rank or percentile score and the scale score. What is the score that we are targeting? When you talk about this percentile score fluctuation. Number 2 is what is the cause of this fluctuation? I'll talk about 3 causes of fluctuation. And number 3 is how do I handle this fluctuation? And hopefully even stop fluctuation or at least fluctuate at a very high level. So let's start with what scores are we targeting. Now the score could be, actually the score can be negative, but I've taken from 0. It can go all the way till 72 because there are 24 questions, but I put till about 48. But I don't know how many of you are able to get scores in the 50s, but some of you might be getting. But this is probably the story of most of you. Against this, there is a questions. I mean, every question carry 3 marks. A score of 12 means you got net 4 questions correct. A score of 30 means you got net 10 questions correct. Against this, there's a percentile rank. And this is based on the last couple of years CAT story. But there is something that you can see here. Now, if you look at the net score, that is jumping 3. 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, so on and so forth. The percentile rank is not jumping like that. It's not an arithmetic progression. 15, 25, 40, 50, 65, 75, 80, 85, 90, 94, 95, 97, 98, 99, 99.5, 99.7, 99.98. The first thing is just don't focus on percentile rank fluctuation because it's very confusing. It will be absolutely confusing to you. 2 reasons. First of all, it's a rank. You call it percentile score. Please stop calling it percentile score. Don't call it a score. Call it a rank. It's a rank. Second of all, this is after the event. You have no control about a percentile rank. What you can control is the questions. So let's focus on the fluctuation on questions. And fluctuation question of 2 to 3 questions is very natural. I mean, in one mock, you got 8 questions correct. Another mock, you got 10 questions correct. It's not like you're going to be stuck at 10 questions, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. There'll be minor changes, maybe based on the test itself, because the test was easy or difficult, or maybe some slight mistake that you made here and there, 1 or 2 questions here and there. It's very natural to have about 10 score fluctuations. Natural. Well, you don't have to worry. So stop focusing on percentile rank. Now, let me explain this further, right? Your fluctuation is between a score of 9 to 15. 3 question to 5 question. I mean, not a huge fluctuation if you look at the questions, but look at percentile rank, it has gone from the 50th percentile to 70th percentile. And you worry a lot. There is a place where you don't worry, which is like 13 to 15, both looks 99. 99 and 99.7. But 99.7 is 99.7. That is 45 marks. It's going to have a huge impact in the overall score. Percentile rank is very confusing and very misleading. Focus on net questions and understand that you will have fluctuations in score. You have fluctuations. It is just that sometimes the fluctuations looks like this, from 15 marks to 39 marks, and you're wondering what just happened. Now let's try and find out reasons for it. What could be the cause? Starting with understanding the fundamental difference between QA and VRC. In QA, you have to bring in knowledge to the examination hall. You look at a question. Your decision to solve a question is also based on the knowledge that you have to answer that question. It's a question on geometry. It talks about some circle. Inside the circle, some square is drawn, and it's also about me having the knowledge about geometry. If I don't bring the knowledge to the examination hall, I cannot solve the QA question. But since largely it's based on the knowledge that I have, I can make decisions on questions, which means I probably will look at, I'll solve arithmetic questions, I may not solve these questions, I have issues with this kind of questions. You make decisions. And since the composition of questions in your mock is more or less very, very similar, There is usually a set number of arithmetic questions, set number of algebra questions, set number of geometry questions, set number of numbers question. The composition is more or less the same every single mock that you take. If the composition of the mock would have been different, suddenly in one mock, instead of 7 arithmetic questions, there is only 2 arithmetic questions, and let's say there is 11 algebra question, 5 geometry question, it's going to fluctuate. It will, but the composition is more or less the same. Why? Because if you look at the last 7 years CAT, the composition has been more or less the same. There could be other minor fluctuation based on how difficult the paper is, but the fluctuation is not going to be that much because you have little more control on your ability or your assessment of whether you can solve a question or not. Second of all, when you attempt a question, when you mark an answer, you're more or less certain that you're going to get the marks. Because you're not going to get confused with the 2 options when it comes to QA. You're not going to go, is it 10, is it 20? It's so confusing. There's no elimination of answer choices here unless until you do some jugaad techniques. So when you mark something, if it's a 10 question that you marked, you're very sure that maybe 9 is correct or even 10 is correct. If you marked 5 questions, you're very, very sure that that 5 question that you marked, maybe 5 question will be correct. So whatever you attempt, that is likely going to be the score that you get, unless until you did some blind attempts. Very likely that your percentage accuracy in QA is likely going to be high. But when you look at VARC, what is the knowledge that you're bringing in that is going to help you? The knowledge is provided by the computer. When I say the computer, the test itself, the reading comprehension passage is giving you the knowledge to answer the 4 questions, and you have to base the question solely on the passage. Look at paragraph summary question, not sentence question. There is no external knowledge that you're bringing in. But yes, one could argue that if I even know terms like epistemology, and if the passage on epistemology, I can understand the passage better. All that is fine. But fundamentally, you're not bringing any external knowledge into the examination hall. You are, whatever is the knowledge that you're building to answer the question, it's in that 40 minutes. A minor change in terms of how we're acquiring the knowledge from the passage could make a lot of difference. Second of all, when you attempt a question, does not mean that you're going to get that question correct. I mean, you easily say, sir, I want to aim 75% accuracy, 90% accuracy, but look at this, no? There are 4 questions in a passage. Sometimes you get 2 questions correct, sometimes you get 3 questions correct. I fluctuate in a particular passage in 2 to 3. You know what 2 to 3 fluctuation means? 2 out of 4 is 50% is accuracy, 3 out of 4 is 75% is accuracy. That is a 50% accuracy fluctuation to a 75% accuracy fluctuation. 2 to 3, 2 to 3. 3 to 4, 3 to 4, great. You're going to get confused with options. VARC is fundamentally very different. Different. I did not want to say difficult, I said different. And there are 3 things that kind of ruins everything. Number 1, how do you decide to select the question that you want to solve? And some of you are solving all the 24 questions. Very likely that people who want to get very high percentile, 99.5 plus and stuff, they are basically deciding, I'm going to look at all the 24 questions. But a lot of you can't solve all the 24 questions. But therefore, you decide to select questions. And the way in which you select, you're not selecting actually, you're basically rejecting. Rejecting how? Rejecting 4 questions together. I will reject one entire RC completely based on my understanding that probably this RC is going to be difficult for me. Sometimes you reject paragraph summary completely. Sometimes you reject odd sentence question completely. So, your decision to reject question has got nothing to do with the merit of the question. Your decision is pre-decided. If I see a passage on philosophy, I'm just going to chuck it. If the knowledge from outside is not going to help you in answering the question, then the decision made outside, how is it going to help you in the paper? Yeah, the बाहर का knowledge is not going to help you. बाहर का decision कैसे help होगा यार? घर पे बैठ के तूने decide किया कि मैं philosophy करूंगा नहीं. घर पे बैठ के कर लिया डिसीजन. घर पे बैठ के डिसाइड किया अगर मैं इन्फ्रेंस वाला क्वेश्चन देखूंगा ना, वो तो मैं करूंगा नहीं यार. घर पे बैठ के डिसाइड कर लिया या पैराग्राफ जंबल वैसे भी कुछ होता ही नहीं है उसमें, मैं करूंगा नहीं पैराग्राफ जंबल. घर पे बैठ के डिसाइड किया और एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में जाके घर वाला डिसीजन ये अप्लाई इट हियर. कैसे चलेगा यार, इसको लॉजिक बता मेरे को. I mean, this is a graph of the CAT 2023 slot number 3 based on the response sheet that we collected from students after the CAT. There's about 25,000 students who submitted a response sheet. Now, this is not the story of the 2 lakh people, but 25,000 is a good database. Now, here, when you see those white lines, that is a percentage accuracy. For example, if you look at question number 1, the white line is somewhere in the 50 percentage. So, if you look at the table below, it says attempt is 49 percentage. Correct. 49% of the people attempted question number 1. The bar, which is the colored bar, is percentage of students who got the question correct. So question number 1 is about 73% of the students got the question correct. It's color coded. Anything about 60%, let's call it easy. Then there's medium, moderate question, then there are difficult question. That's a color. Now look at the 4 RC. You tell me which RC is easy, which RC is difficult. And you would probably say RC2 na, it looks difficult. But look at the difference between RC3 and RC4. Iska difference bata mere ko. And which is the easiest of RC, you tell me? Sir, RC1 is easy. No, RC1 is the easiest one. Because RC1 mein 3 green hai. Look at the attempt of RC1 on an average. Look at the attempt of RC3 on an average, that white line. Look at the attempt of RC4 on average on a white line. RC1 and RC2 attempt is more or less the same. How are people making decisions? तुमको कैसे पता या क्वेश्चन इजी और डिफिकल्ट होगा यार? तुम ऐसे कैसे अज्यूम करते हो कि एवरी सिंगल क्वेश्चन हैज गॉट अ सेम लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी? मेरे को बता. बीए देख लो, हमने डिसाइड किया that I think 17-18 will be sentence placement. I think there is paragraph jumble, then there is odd sentence particular paragraph, and वो paragraph completion question है, sentence fitment question. No, sorry, paragraph summary question is towards the end. अभी तूने paragraph summary completely छोड़ दिया. Look at the paragraph summary, 1 red, 1 green. Look at the question. Red, green, red, orange, green, red, red, green. This is like one snapshot of one test. How will you know कौन सा क्वेश्चन इजी या डिफिकल्ट है if you don't evaluate the question? हमने पहले से डिसाइड कर लिया छोड़ने का. यार, I have done videos in terms of strategy for VARC. I'm not going to get into it. You can search those videos. But how you select questions is very important. But the decision, when are you making the decision, is very important to understand. Is a decision based on what you decide at home. मैं पैसे दे के डिसाइड कर लूँगा यार. मैं पैसेज, ये वाला पैसेज मेरे को इजी लगता है. लुक एंड फील ऑफ द पैसेज वी डिसाइड. हाउ डू यू सेलेक्ट? नंबर 2, हाउ यू रीड. I mean, this is a simple thing to say, how you read. But let me tell you something. Do you read the exact same way every single time? You do have a method to this madness. Do you read a passage? Do you take notes? If you take notes, do you take notes every single time? Sometimes you read, for example, there is something like this is given to you. You read the first sentence, you go, it's over. Humanism, a philosophical doctrine extolling the interesting value and agency of humanity, was pivotal in shaping the intellectual currents of enlightenment. We make this value judgments on passages. Sometimes we read it very faster than the pace of comprehension. क्या समझेगा यार? Sometimes we read it slower than the pace of our comprehension. So slow that you're getting lost. You're completely lost. Sometimes we read paragraph twice, thrice, 4 times. I mean, what were we reading the first time? Sometimes, right in the middle of the 3rd paragraph, we are going, how did I reach here? Where am I? How did I reach here? Sometimes you read the paragraph with no interest whatsoever. You're reading the paragraph like a burden. When the passage is giving you the knowledge to answer the question, we treat the passage like a burden. How we read? Let's take the scenario. Same passage, 2 different scenario. In scenario 1, you read it like crazy. Your marks is going to be very different. In scenario number 2, when you read it like normally, when you do all those tests at home, the way in which you read is very different than the way we read the passage in the mock. Why? Number 3, how long you evaluate a question. There are 4 options. How long? Since you have already decided at home, मैं एक पैसेज तो करूँगा नहीं, घर पे डिसाइड कर लिया. बाकी 3 पैसेज जो करना है हमें, 4 क्वेश्चन हमने निकाल दिया. अभी we got stuck in a question. मतलब इसको करके जाऊँगा मैं. I will have to answer this. Otherwise, well, the passage will feel so bad. We end up spending time in evaluating question. You tell me the last time this happened. You read the passage. You have come to this particular question. You read 4 answer choices. You eliminated 2. You are confused between 2 answer choices. Now you have to resolve this confusion. You decided, I'm going to go back to the passage. I went to the passage. I read it again. I came back and said, yes, the confusion is over. Kabhi hua hai kya? How many times you evaluate the accuracy, you differentiate when you do the analysis. You don't differentiate the question in two categories. The questions that you got confused, the question that you did not get confused. And check out the accuracy within these two things. The question that you got confused, I'm sure the accuracy will be less than 50%. The question that you did not get confused, the accuracy will be likely going to be high. Why did I get stuck in the question and get a negative 1 mark? It's a double negative. I need 40 marks in 40 minutes. Every minute 1 mark. Every 3 minutes 3 marks. And I'm not saying while reading the passage you will get marks. I'm saying on an average. Whatever activity that I'm doing, whatever decision that I'm making in those 40 minutes is to get the marks. Anything that you're doing is to take negative. It's crazy. And on top of it, you're losing time, which you can spend somewhere else. The point of all these three about your score fluctuation is merely about the decision that you took in the test. It has got nothing to do with your ability, your skills, because your skill is a problem. Then that skill, if your skill has a problem, right, then the problem has to be there in the RC passage that is solved at home. If you got an issue, the issue has to be there across. Now, having said this, the question comes: how do you tame? How do you handle this? I've got 5 things to say. 5. Number 1 is always follow the same method. We don't do this. We tried one method of solving RC. I'm sure there's some way we are reading it. Sometimes we decide to read, okay, I'm going to read first sentence, last sentence, first sentence, last sentence, and I'm going to do this. It didn't work. Then we tried another method. That didn't work. And I've tried the third method. That didn't work. And I'm running around, let's say YouTube, figuring out somebody is going to help me, there is some savior is going to help me, some faculty is going to help me. Oh, you saw one method. This works. This is working. Third mock, it didn't work. Oh, method is bakwas. Yeah. Stick to one. And this is what I'll do. We're going to solve let's say a reading comprehension. If you read a particular passage, what do? You do the exact same thing in every single passage that you solve. If you're solving paragraph jumble question, your approach has to be the same every single time. You're talking about fluctuation in score. You tell me whether your method fluctuates. Does it? Sometimes you read fast, sometimes you read slow. You have to follow one method and make it work. Number 2, don't assume that difficulty means you can't solve it. ये घर वाला decisions है. Philosophy ne, I can't solve philosophy. It's a philosophy. Yeah, मतलब क्या है? You just have to read the passage. All the answer to the question is there in the passage. Don't assume difficulty means you can't solve it. See, at the end of the day, in reading comprehension, it all boils down to how the options are created. Same with paragraph summary. If you look at odd sentence questions and paragraph jumble question is about whether or not you have got enough signal words in the one. It has got nothing to do with the subject. Same is the case with sentence placement question. Don't assume difficulty. Your decision is based on pure assumptions. Number 3, don't get stuck in a question. Yeah, I have a problem with time management. You don't have a problem with. Don't blame it on the time. Blame it on yourself. Why are you getting stuck in a question? You leave a question. If you got time at the end, you come back and solve it. Sir, I'll forget the passage. You'll forget the passage. You'll forget the passage. In 40 minutes, you come back home, you still remember the passage, no? Don't you? At least when you read the passage again during the analysis, you remember a lot many stuff, no? What are you going to forget in 40 minutes? Why are you getting stuck in question? Marks per minute is important. Yeah, this is very difficult for you to do. Yeah, very difficult है. You get stuck मतलब very dangerous. एक तो time जा रहा है, negative जाएगा. 3 question में we got stuck. 2 minutes, 6 minutes गवा दिया, -3 लेके गया, मस्त है. Amazing. You evaluate all the negative, how much time that you spent. I want to know how much time that you spend in negative 1 mark. In fact, in QA, you should also evaluate how much time that you spend in getting 0 marks. It will be fascinating. I'm guaranteeing you, out of the 40 minutes, 20 minutes you have spent in QA getting 0 marks. Which means you tried to look at a question, did not mark at the end. Yeah, there's a different story in terms of how to deal with QA, but don't get stuck. Number 4, don't assume the cause of a problem. यार ये बहुत problem है. Philosophy passage is a problem. Don't assume. Inference question is my problem. What do you mean inference? What does inference even mean? Something that is true based on the passage, no? What is inference? It's true. I mean, author agreement question. What do you mean author? Who is the author? Author who wrote the passage? Author को पता है क्या author? Author is wrote the passage. No, read the passage. No, author agrees मतलब whatever is true based on the passage. No. The problem we assume causes. Problem हुआ assumption शुरू. ये है problem. या सर ना ये वाला प्रॉब्लम है सर, मेरा प्रॉब्लम इसमें है सर, मेरा प्रॉब्लम वोकैबुलरी है सर, मेरा प्रॉब्लम ये है सर, मेरा प्रॉब्लम ये है सर, मेरा प्रॉब्लम ना मेरा हेल्थ इज अ प्रॉब्लम सर, मेरे को ना कंसंट्रेशन नहीं होता है सर. तो ये अज्यूम क्यों कर रहे हो? हाफ द इफ यू अज्यूम प्रॉब्लम्स, the next you assume problems, na? When you look at the passage only, your problem, oh, this is going to be a problem, inference question, it's going to be a problem, it's going to be a problem. Yes, कैसे करेगा यार? Lastly ना, analysis में ना, analyze the right question, analyze the wrong question, but analyze the right also. A lot of time you don't analyze the right questions, in the sense questions you got right, not the right question. For example, you got in a passage you got all the 4 questions correct. मैं गारंटी दे रहा हूँ तुम वो analyze करते नहीं हो. You don't watch the video solutions. You only watch the video solution of things that you got wrong. You don't watch the video solution things that you got right. There is no reinforcement of your strength happening. If you don't analyze why you got something right, how do you know why you got it right? If you don't know why you got it right, where is the reinforcement of your right skills? Yeah, I think it's we get frustrated with all the wrongs. We spend a life on the wrong. We forget about the things that we got right. That paper that you got 45 marks, we have forgotten the paper. He said that paper na easy paper है, कुछ काम का नहीं है. I'm going to spend my life and worry about the paper where I got 15 marks. उसके पीछे है अपन. वो करना चाहिए. I should analyze the wrongs, but I should also analyze the rights. Exactly the same way I analyze the wrong. Imagine this, no? You're watching a video solution of a question that you got right. The faculty is analyzing the passage, going, oh, this is same. Okay, 4 answer choices. This is a trap. Same trap. I got the same trap. Yes. That is why are you losing this opportunity? And what you got to analyze is to analyze your decisions. Absolutely important. Basically, keep it simple, soldier. KISS strategy. KISS. Keep it simple. While taking the test, keep it simple. While doing the analysis, keep it simple. Stick to the process. And I'm sure that hopefully your score will fluctuate at the desired level. I hope this made sense. See you.